Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Hoboken Historical Museum. My name is Stu Chirichella. I'll be your host for tonight. I'd like to thank our programmer, Rand Hoppy. I'd like to thank Bob Foster for always preserving our Hoboken history. He does a wonderful job, and I believe personally doesn't get enough credit for what he does. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we got a special guest. Some of you may know him as a local fireman in town who became a battalion chief. Some of you may know him as the Rug Doctor, but his true friends know him as the Survivor. I'd like to say hi and welcome to Mike Turner.
Stu, what a pleasure it is to be here, brother. Who would ever thought two guys like us be here talking together on a podcast, huh?
Awesome opportunity. Before we get started into everything, I'd like to just have Mike speak a little bit about where he came from before he made this event, because this speaks to Mike's person.
Well, obviously, I'm a born and raised Hoboken kid. I was born and raised on Marshall Drive in the projects. Moved to 13th and Bloomfield. Became a fireman when I was 19 years old. Rose through the ranks. Started my own business. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of the Hoboken community, and in my heart, I'll always be Hoboken no matter what.
Talk a little bit about the event, Mike, before you came over here. What was going on? What was happening?
Well, Community Lifestyles is a group in Hoboken that provides camps and different programs for kids they're in need, that need a place to go during the summertime. And they had approached me about helping them raise some money. So we had a nice little event tonight, the Pig and the Parrot. We went there and we raised some money to send some kids to camp, which is obviously, near and dear to me, because as a kid, I was fortunate. A lot of you old timers remember Camp Tamaqua, going with the YMCA, and I would have never been out of Hoboken if it was not for programs like that. So once I was approached, I was like, it's a no-brainer for me. I'm there. Whatever you guys need.
So me personally, growing up in Hoboken, and I know Mike, Mike was a little bit, a generation, say, up from me. I always looked up to Mike as a role model because Mike was never, ever surrounded with any type of controversy. He was always a hard worker, just a good, always playing sports. I always saw that. And, it was a different time when we grew up. Hoboken was a totally different town. It was a blue-collar town. It was a rough town to grow up in, to be honest with you. And when one of us really get out and make it, not so much as get out and leave town, but just are successful to some extent, we all bask in that glory. And I just want to congratulate Mike on his recent venture on Survivor and stuff like that, because he made us all proud. I mean, when you're from Hoboken, it's just special. I don't even know how to describe it. The pride that we have when we see one of our own just get out there and represent us in a sense, it really is awesome. But we'll talk about the Survivor stuff later. But just tell the people, Mike, what it was like when you came up in town, where you grew up, what it was like. Describe it a little bit.
Obviously, I grew up, I'm a little old, so I grew up in Hoboken in the 60s and 70s. And, I think the best describe it was survival. It was a navigation.
The real survivor.
The real survivor. They, when I got on Survivor, they said, what makes you think you could be good at Survivor? I go, I grew up in Hoboken where you had to survive. And when I say survive, it's just, you had to navigate the streets. You had to know where to walk. You had to know who to talk to. And yet, neighborhoods and Hoboken was always together as one. It was a weird thing to say. You knew where to walk. You knew where to go. But at the end of the day, if you were Hoboken, you were Hoboken true and true, no matter where you lived in Hoboken. You're talking about going to Survivor, and I think about it. There's no doubt in my mind, when I went to Survivor, I brought Hoboken with me. And that was not unplanned in terms of me going there and saying, I got to take Hoboken. It just is who I am. When I was out there, I didn't run from who I was. I'm a Hoboken kid. I will never be anything else. And quite frankly, it's one of the proudest things that I own, is being from this town and growing up and surviving the streets as you did.
We'll talk about two things real quick. One word that we invented it's in a dictionary. Comp is one of the words we invented, which is short for compadre. But this was made famous by Mike Turner, this other saying called the Hoboken Whisperer.
The Hoboken Whisperer.
What you say your version and I'll say mine. What is the Hoboken Whisperer? I'd like to know.
The Hoboken Whisperer is this. You really want to know? If you're hanging out with your boys and you're on the corner and you're just chilling, holding up the walls. You remember we used to hold up the walls? Part of our life growing up was holding up walls. I was on 5th and Wash. I was on 5th and Bloomfield. But, if you see a nice girl looking over, you go like, wow, she's hot. And the girl would turn around like, I'm right here. And so that's the Hoboken Whisperer. We didn't know how to go, hey, what a pretty girl. We were like, whoa, look at her. Check her out. Or look at that dude over there. He's looking at us wrong. We didn't know how to speak low. I think that was my biggest challenge going out there was the Hoboken Whisper. And to this day, no matter where I go, people hear me talking. And it's because, I don't know, in Hoboken, I guess we're outgoing, we're loud, we're honest. We're all who we are. And that's the best. Listen, we're different. And I enjoy being different.
Without doubt. And my daughter hates it. Because I'm like probably the loudest person in the vicinity. If I'm not around Mike or somebody else, she's like, "Why do you have to always talk and say, oh, hey, I'm on the street yelling, screaming at everybody?" She's like, "Come on, Daddy, please.
I can see
we
Stu,
just keep moving?"
There were times I see Stewie like a half a block, and I go, "Stewie!" And he's like, "Mike!" And we're yelling back. We're having a conversation from half a block away.
So there it is. It's explained now.
It's the Hoboken Whisper.
So, like I said, going a little bit. Where'd you grow up? Where'd you grow up in Hoboken?
I grew up. I was born on Marshall Drive, and I grew up at 210 Harrison Street till I was 12 years old, and then I went to 1305 Bloomfield. I thought I was like moving up in the world, man. Going to Bloomfield Street in Hoboken on 13th, and then I realized 14th Street was there. And you had to navigate 14th Street back in the day. So the truth is, no matter where you moved in Hoboken back in the day, it was, it was a navigation, and, you had your neighborhoods, and man, and the greatest thing about Hoboken, I think, was no matter where you walked, you smelt where you were. And I mean that in a very positive way. You smelt the neighborhood, you smelt the Spanish neighborhood, you smelt the Irish neighborhood, you smelt the Italian neighborhood, you smelt the black neighborhood. It was just, and that's why I think, growing up, we didn't know. I mean, I didn't know racism. I didn't know anything like that. So to me, everybody was everybody. If you got into a fight with somebody, it didn't matter what color it was. If you were friends with somebody, it didn't matter what color it was. You fought because maybe there was a beef, or you were friends because you had a beef, which most of the time happened. You have a beef with somebody, you get into a fight, and whether you got your ass kicked or not, you walked away from you guys were boys for a long time after that because you gained respect.
We were always probably, basically, I would say more than most towns, downtown, even uptown, we're getting challenged all the time. You had when you fought, you made best friends after fighting people. There's no doubt about it. And it was kind of different. It was different downtown. Like Hoboken was a different scene back then, like gangs and stuff like that. What was your experience with stuff like that?
Yeah, again, we had to navigate. There was a lot of, it was during a time when the Warriors came out, and everybody was emulating that movie, and we had every gang, the Wakatang, the Boricua, the Brew Crew. We had, actually, the truth is, some families were gangs by themselves. There were so many of them, they were the gang in themselves. I don't want to mention any names, but I was afraid of them as more than I was of some of the other gangs. But so you survived, and you knew. Here's the deal: if you came into Hoboken, you weren't from Hoboken. Nobody messed with anybody from Hoboken. But within Hoboken itself, you did have your beefs, and you knew where to go. But you knew how to show respect for the other side, and they respected you at the end of the day. No matter what, that's the way it was.
So it's safe to say Mike Turner was a protector of his family, without a doubt.
Yeah, your family's important, man. Family's important. You got to protect your family.
So what was it like? What the sports? What were you playing? Explain to some of the kids that are listening. A lot of people are going to listen to this podcast. Tell the kids what it was like. What were we playing in the streets? What were we doing?
Dude, listen, man. The greatest part of the game is like, in the summer came, you're out there playing bottle cap, you're playing Johnny on the Pony, you're playing Ring-a-Larry or 31, Jailbreak, whatever you want to call that game. We played it. Or you played box ball, punch ball, stoop ball, or you played knuckles. We made up our own games because you know why? We had no money. So you had no money. What do? You go out and you make up these games. And so we played Johnny on the Pony, Pop Beans and Butter. Hot Beans and Butter is a game where somebody hides a belt and then the other kids go look for it. And when they find the belt, they whip the shit out of everybody else. That's the games we had. And I'm not sure it was okay, but we thought it was okay back then. I just was making sure I wasn't close enough to that belt to get whacked. Yeah, okay. But we also had togetherness. We had camaraderie. We had loyalty. You knew who your friends were. If you got into a fight and you were with your boy, you knew your boy was going to stand there and get your ass kicked with you. And that's the way it was back then. So, you had your rough times, but I think that's what made us who we are. I know it absolutely made me the man I am today.
What about school, Mike? Where'd you go to school at Hoboken?
Well, my father, I was born and raised in the projects. So I went to kindergarten at number 9 school. But then my father had the great idea, let's send him to Our Lady of Grace. And he said, let's put a white and green uniform on him and make him walk through the projects up to Our Lady of Grace. and hang out with those kids and then walk back through the projects. So, you know, you learn how to fight by getting your ass kicked a few times. And I got my ass kicked more than a few times. So I went to OLG for a while until they decided I shouldn't return. And then I went to Demorest, Brand for a year. And then I went to Demorest and then I went to Hoboken High. And, you know, I'm glad I did all those things. I got to see all the different worlds. I went to, you know, Our Lady of Grace and I saw that world. So I met a lot of kids from the uptown area that I would have never met living in the projects. And then when I went to Brand, I was nervous about it because, like, those were the kids that, you know, I was nervous about. Like, walk down the street, they're going to kick my butt. But it wasn't like that, man. It was the Wolf Pack, Grant Wolf Pack. And, you know, I met a lot of good friends. I'm still friends with to this day. I'm still friends with these people today. I had a reunion with some of my OLG friends a month ago. I've seen people from high school that I still am best friends. Tom Rubistelli, Blast from the Past, Barney Rubble, my man. We're still together, man. Jeff Malfetti, guys like that, you know, I met when I was a kid. I'm still, you know, best friends with. Nicky Golsack, I used to go to his house on Park Avenue and on 5. And, you know, I wasn't even allowed on that block. And yet we're best friends. Me and you, Stu. You know, different worlds, but we became great friends.
Yes. And, and the beauty of it is when growing up, like, and I know definitely it's true for you, the common denominator is what? Playing sports.
Playing sports. That's very true.
Yeah. You know.
So, you join these teams. I played Pop 1. I played for the Mighty Mites. I played for the Chinese Bandits. And, again, we didn't know color. We didn't know, you know, listen, we were drinking out of the same dirty water bucket that, you know, my 25 of us were drinking out of. The coach would squeeze the sponge over here and you suck the dirty water into your mouth. We never thought who was drinking it, why they were drinking. We didn't give a shit. We were thirsty and we didn't think that way. And, you know, we played on rocks. You know, there was no turf. We played on rocks and we took beatings together. And quite frankly, those are the things that led us to be stronger and to be independent and know what we needed to do to succeed in life. And unfortunately, a lot of our close friends and people that we considered brothers didn't make it. You know, we're the fortunate few that did make it.
And what's crazy is the way Mike was explaining with how we learned about everybody's culture was by playing sport. Like, try doing this today. Get a coach with one spoon in a big Gatorade bucket, have 20 kids line up and just drink out of the same spoon. You'd be probably committed into an insane asylum today. Like, the unity we had was just unbelievable. We meshed because everybody was in the same pot. Like Mike says, nobody looked at each other. Oh, he's black, he's Puerto Rican, he's white. We didn't like it. You played ball, you hung out, you laughed, you joked, you fought, and everybody had a good time. Hoboken's very unique in that sense. There's a very special bond with Hoboken people wherever we go. Right. That's why Mike was saying before he took that with him to the Survivor. There's no doubt about it. The whole town was rooting for him. Even people who didn't know him, like Warren from Hoboken, people just see him in the street. I could imagine what he was hearing walking down the block. But we'll get into that later on. But whatever.
The love I felt was
oh my God,
ridiculous and unbelievable and humbling. It was actually humbling. Yeah. I mean, you know, I look at those times that we had, Stewie, back in the day, and you know, I almost think it was our rite of passage.
Yeah.
You know, that was our rite of manhood. How we became men or women was to grow up in this town and go through those things. And if you didn't go through those things, you almost didn't feel like you didn't enter into adulthood where you can control your fate, where you can support your family, where you can be a man and maintain a job and, you know, do the right thing in life.
Yeah. Me and Mike, we have a similar background. He coached, his dad coached for years, sponsored a Little League team. My dad coached me for years. I've coached for many years in Hoboken Little League. I just coached my daughter a few years in softball. So we have that, you know, there's a sense of giving back. You know what I mean? Because we knew how it was coming up. You know what I mean? And that's something I'll never forget. So I know the young kids, and I always loved the kids from downtown because I wanted the kids who come from like a tough background and home because that's where I'm most comfortable. So, you know, I know, Mike, you know, talk a little bit about coaching, Mike, some of the relationships you built with the kids over the years, stuff like that.
I listen, man.
And I know a lot of the kids.
Right. I've not only grown up with a lot of the kids, but I coached, you know, a lot of kids in Hoboken and from every walk of life, from, you know, what they consider the yuppie kids to the project kids. Yep. And I had them all on my same team. And I taught them, we're no different, man. Once you're on a team, we're one. You ain't so-and-so from the project. You ain't so-and-so from Park Avenue. You ain't so-and-so from Castle Point. We were one. And quite frankly, I was fortunate to learn that from the coaches that I had growing up. You know, from my high school coaches, from my Pop Warner coaches, guys that said, you know, I don't care what color, what race, we're one here. And I've never seen anything. And speaking of that, that's what – so – you know, going on Survivor, the biggest part of it's a social game where you have to deal with people from different cultures. And I'm like, I don't have to learn that. I've been doing that my whole life. I've been dealing with people from different cultures my whole life, in every aspect of my life, whether it be my childhood, what school I went to, what job, being on a fire department. I've always dealt with that. And quite frankly, if you grew up with it, it was kind of easy and natural.
Good. So I know, I mean, I didn't play, Mike's a little older than me, but I didn't play high school.
Not that much older.
I played a little bit. What's he got? We'll say a few years. So I don't want to tell my age either. So anyway,
I think they know I'm 116.
I know Mike played. I played street football.
Yes,
and actually he was tough, very tough on the field. Now I know you played high school ball. I seen the picture before. I wasn't sure to the extent of it, but I mean, did you believe like maybe, hey, I could take this somewhere playing football? Did you think about that at any point or no?
To be honest with you, no. First of all, I was a knucklehead, man, growing up. I didn't hit the books the way I should have. But also, I think sometimes, you don't. I didn't. If I'm being fair to myself, I didn't think I was good enough to go. I played football mainly because I love the camaraderie. I love the brotherhood. I love being a part of something, which I knew would give me an advantage in whatever part of life I went into. It didn't matter to be in the pros. Realistically, I never thought of that. I just thought about, I enjoyed the camaraderie. Do I want to play college football? Maybe a little bit, but at the end of the day, I wanted to be successful in life, and I knew being on teams which what gave me success through our sports would help me in my life also.
So you're in high school. What is your thoughts? You're graduating. What does Mike Turner want to do? What do I want to do?
Mike Turner thought, I got to get a job. And I got to work.
Oh, shit.
So I got to make some dinero, man. I want to go out with girls. And I need money because they're expensive. No, being serious. It's weird because when I got out of high school, I did what everybody thought. I thought everybody thought you should do. You got to go to college, right? So that's what I did. Even though I wasn't a school kid, I said, "Oh, I got to go to college. Everybody's going to college. If I don't go to college, I'm not successful." I think college is not for everybody, but I think it's important that you get an education, whatever that education, whether it's a street education, whether it's an education for a trade. And if college is your thing, college wasn't my thing. So I wanted to work. I wanted to make money. And, back in the day, our choices in Hoboken weren't abundant. We didn't even know like places existed that where you can go and learn things. So, to me, being a success in Hoboken growing up was either being a cop or a fireman. And I thought, well, I don't really want to be a cop, and mainly because I didn't think I was built for that. But I thought being a fireman I was built for, and I thought it was something that, quite frankly, would be honorable. It'd be something that I think I could be good at. And being an athlete, when that bell goes off, I always felt like that you're getting the ball with 2 minutes left to go in the game, and you have to make the decision as to whether we score or not. And that excited me. And quite frankly, it was the greatest decision I ever made. Was to become a fireman, because not only did I think I did well in it, I loved it with all my heart. I still love it with all my heart. And if it wasn't for that life and learning from the men that I learned from, and not just how to firefight, but how to be fathers, how to be grandfathers, how to be workers, how to treat people, what kind of foods to eat, that I wouldn't be who I am today. Not even close.
And here's the thing, like a lot of people that maybe watch this podcast don't know, Hoboken at that time, it wasn't a glamorous job to be a fireman because of what was happening in town. I know I won't say the name, but an old-time retired fireman had told me the FBI was at one time investigating all the fires that were going on in town because that's how bad it was. I mean, I remember a friend of mine went and woke a friend up in the building to see if he was going to come out. By the time they got to the top floor on Jefferson Street, right next to Delfino's, time they got to the top floor, the back window blew out. They ran downstairs. The whole floor was burned. They were lighting up buildings left and right in town. It was a scary time in Hoboken, late 70s, early 80s. So it really wasn't glamorous for you to go take the fire department job at the time because it was a tough job. You were fire. I'm not saying these guys have it easy today, which they don't. I always say if a firefighter fights one fire, he earns his pay for the year. In my book, but back then it was a little less glamorous and it was a little more dangerous because they were just lighting up buildings like it was legal. So, what was like, it takes tell a person what it's like going into a fire who never saw a fire. Like what it takes a special person to do that. You have to,
The truth is you don't know what it's like until you actually do it. And, close your eyes, put about, 10 strips of black duct tape over your eyes and then walk around. And that's what it's like. And then you're in an environment that you've never been into. You're in a toxic environment, and you're trying to navigate. And whatever your job is, whether you're a hoseman or a truckman or a rescue guy, you have a job to do, and people are depending on you to do it. And not only the people that are in the building, but your brother firefighters or sister firefighters who are in there, they're dependent that you're ventilating. So when they're going with a hose line, so they're not in all this toxic air, stuff like that. So you never know what's going to happen. But in saying that, without a doubt, it's the most gratifying thing I've done. Again, anybody that says they're not afraid, everybody's afraid. But you have confidence in your training. You have confidence in the people around you. You have confidence in how the building was made, that you're going to be okay. And that's what you got to go by. Or else who would go in if they knew that they were going to die? Nobody goes into a fire thinking they're going to die.
What's the first fire? What was the first call? What was it like? Who was the crew? Who was the crew?
Okay, so
who were the guys?
Okay, here's my first day on the job. January 15th was my first day in the firehouse. First alarm, 1985. We get our first alarm, and it's level off. And if you don't know what level off is, 15 blocks, first alarm, not even first fire, first alarm. And I remember they saying, "Oh, we're going to a false alarm." We turned down 9th Street, the whole block was gone. And if you don't know, level off is one of the biggest fires. It's actually the biggest fire that ever happened. We lost 4 different blocks there, and 15 different blocks were on fire throughout town. So I wound up, the city won that day. I worked 23 and a half out of 24 hours. They won that day. But it was cold, and but again, it was gratifying. I went out there and I felt I was making a change. It was the start of my life where I was becoming an adult and starting to contribute back to the town that I felt gave me so much.
So what did you I know you gained a lot from those men that worked there before you, like mentoring you and stuff like that. How do you feel about that? And what are those you maintain? I know a lot of guys have passed. But
yeah, unfortunately,
you maintain a lot of those relationships and stuff.
Of course. I mean, to go on the show, they talk to me. It's like, who are your idols? And I'm like, who are my idols? My idol is, Captain Stankiewicz, who was my first captain on the fire department, who taught me how to be a father, and not by telling me, by me watching him, how to be a husband. Or, John O'Brien, who, was like 4 years older than me. I wouldn't say you're 15, John, but you're only 4. You look 15 years older than me. OB. And who, when I was 10 years old, I'm hanging in front of his house, and he takes me in and starts talking to me, teaching me things about, I'm going to loan you $5, and I'm not going to ask for your back, but you better give it back, because that's the right thing to do. Teaching me stuff like that about life, taking me to places and showing me some good things. And then when I got on the job, helping me fill out the application to get on the job. And then once I'm on, takes me under his wing. And, those guys, those are my idols. Those are the guys, that taught me about life, who I look up to. Not, I love Arnold Schwarzenegger, but he didn't do nothing for me personally to enhance me. Those guys were my idols. So that's what those guys did on the job. Vietnam, and, I didn't read about Vietnam in books because it really wasn't in books. I was too young. But I learned about Vietnam from the guys that were there, sitting in the fires and hearing their stories and what happened over there. A Korean War, things like that, So those are the things I learned.
Yeah. How about the guys coming in? The young guys. What were some of your favorites? Yeah, throw some names out there.
Well, my boy Mike Sansevier, me and my boy Mike Sansevier, Alex Badamo, Nick Golsack. Now, Nick Golsack, I know when I'm 5 years old, we lose touch for like 15 years. We become friends again when he's 17, I'm 18. And, he's one of my closest friends in the world because, we grew up together through the wars. Even though he grew up on Garden Street uptown, I grew downtown. We meet in the middle somewhere, and we become friends. And then he gets on the fire department, and, one of the guys like that, Ronnie Miltner, Angel Amaro, great guys on the job, man. Then I can go back to, older guys, Wayne Matson, Bobby Mazzo, Dipper, just these guys that were there and just taught you about life. Jerry Costanza, told me how to have a meal for $1.50 and not be hungry for another day. $1.50, my man Jerry Costanza. Just things like that, how to survive.
What were some of the favorite meals in the house? What are you guys making?
Oh, well, Sunday was always gravy. You want to call it sauce or gravy? What are we going to argue that for now?
Gravy. No, I'll go with the gravy.
I'll go gravy. We have gravy on Sundays. Have the best meatballs.
They'll be crying about that.
Every Sunday we have sauce, gravy. That was a tradition in the firehouse. But just even, I'm half Puerto Rican, so my mother's Puerto Rican. So I grew up on rice and beans. I ate rice and beans every day. I didn't know anything different. When I got to the fire department, I learned how to eat so many different meals like that. I never ate broccoli or stuff like that. And I'm eating broccoli and these different kinds of beef meals like stews and stuff. I'm like, holy crap, I didn't know these things existed, but I learned. And I learned different cultures because, you know, if you're an Irish guy and you're in the Far East, you made some Irish meals. If you're Italian, you made the Italian meal. Spanish guys were cooking Spanish food. So you learn different cultures that when you talk to people. So yeah, Jay Munoz, me and him came on together. You know, we didn't know each other from Adam. We became one of my closest friends on the job. You know, kind of like Mike Sansevier, you know, these guys, you know, I hate to say coworkers, they're not my coworkers. They're like my brothers.
Speak about mom a little bit. You just brought up
my mom. My mom, listen, my mom had 7 kids. You know, you tell people now you have 7 kids, they think you're crazy. But, you know, my mom was, you know, she came right from Puerto Rico, came to Hoboken, met my dad. You know, she had 7 kids. And, you know, at the time, you don't realize, like, what she's doing. But you think back now, my mom was, you know, she had 7 kids. She had kids in diapers for like 15 years, and she was handicapped. And yet she carried all these kids around with her all the time with her. She did complain about us, but that's okay. We deserved it. No, but you know, listen, my mom was cool, man. You know, she put up with us, and she deserves credit. She handled the way, and she put up with my father, which was kind of tough.
I come from the same, you know, my mom held it together for me. There's no doubt about it. So here we go, fire department. And I know you want to plug the business. You got another successful business.
Listen, I got a business, but I don't even care about the business. You know, listen, I have a business. I'm very happy with it. I've been doing it. Listen, here's the one thing: if you're a fireman, you always have a second gig going on. You have to, man, because you want to raise a family. You want to kind of give them everything you didn't have as a kid, and so you're trying. You're quite frankly, you probably overdo it sometimes and give them more than they should have, and which spoils them. You know, where's the balance? Who knows the balance? I don't know the balance. So, but I developed a business which has been pretty successful. I'm very fortunate there. I'm back in Hoboken after leaving for a few years to raise my kids. I'm walking around. I can walk to get coffee now, and I have to take a car to get coffee. Life is good, man.
I know Mike, you know, as far as giving back wise, he used to have the whole crew come over his house. His little league team used to go over his house. He used to take them swimming way back when. There's a lot of good memories there too. You know,
little Cheeto, butter, nutty.
Yeah.
I used to have them all. My nephew Wani.
Yep, exactly.
They used to all come down to the house, and you know, just try and show them a different life, man. Yeah. It doesn't have to be your life, but it's something different. And whatever you don't have to think that what you're at, and if you don't like it, you don't have to stay there. You can change it, man. You can make it different. It's all up to you.
Exactly.
The only thing you need is the drive.
Yeah, without a doubt. So, fire department is what? Coming to an end? How many years ago? How long are you retired now?
I'm retired 11 years. So, you know, I left
awesome.
11 years. So I retired after 27 years. I was in 27 years. And I kind of disappeared for a little while. I raised my kids, you know, got divorced. Unfortunately, I got divorced, but I was lucky because, listen, out of every bad thing, something good always comes. And I got to meet my wife, Stacy, which she's super cool. Right, Stu? She's pretty cool, right?
She's very cool.
She's very cool.
I'm on wife number 2 also, Alyssa. Shout out to Alyssa.
Alyssa's pretty cool, too. Alyssa's pretty cool, too. Now, listen, that doesn't mean that, you know, Stacy's not a pain in my butt. But listen, she's cool, too. I even think she'll admit that she's a pain in my butt. But I'm a huge pain in her butt.
Right. So I did my homework. I read a lot of other interviews Mike done. I know Mike's done a ton of other interviews, but he's home now. So the question comes along, and I know somebody asked, and I was going to ask him. So I'll tell you where it comes from. You're in the firehouse. You're watching Survivor. You like Survivor. So here we go. How does this whole great story begin? It's a great story.
It's as simple as this. We were sitting in the firehouse one day, and you know, going back in the first episodes back in really early 2000s. I don't want to say 2001, where this premise comes out. Hey, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take 18 people. We're gonna throw them on an island, and we're gonna take them from different walks of life, and we're not gonna give them shit. And we're going to see if they can get along. And guess what? We're going to have them vote each other off. But who's ever voted off has to vote for who's the winner. It's a very tough line to navigate. Yeah. By the way, we're also going to make them starve. And so I thought I'm like, dude, we're back in the projects.
Now, before you go any further with that, I talked to Mike like a while. I was like, Mike, You gonna tell me they had no caterers on this island? This is all real. They're making you starve on this island. He was telling me. I was like, yeah, I would have went home.
I can't tell you, man. Hey, listen, man,
I gotta eat.
I'm not gonna lie to you. It was legit. I actually think it's worse than they portray, man. They don't. Some of the stuff out there, they do nothing to help you. You are on your own. They literally throw you on an island. You have your cameramen there, maybe one producer to watch. That's it, man. You're out there on your own.
See, and I blew my intro, and I got to plug it again. I don't want to read the paper. I was just going to say, fresh off some coconut milk from the Fiji Islands. My turn. So we got to plug that in there.
By the way, I didn't get too much coconut milk in the beginning. I was starving.
So you're in the house. You're watching the Survivor. How'd you become a fan? Talk about it.
I just started watching Survivor. So I watch it, and here's what you would think. You would think initially that what would make you get into it is the $1 million prize. But which is not a bad, not a bad
at
gig,
all.
but what really
I'm not gonna say
what really hooked me was the interaction between these people from different parts of life and seeing them letting themselves get exposed. You know, I say this to my wife, and I said this on the island. I think we're all born with insecurities. All of us. We grow up and we're insecure. But then what do? We spend our time putting on these armors to protect ourselves. So like I became, I started lifting weights to get bigger, so I look tougher. All right, there's my armor. I become a fireman, so I look like I'm a man of the community. There's my armor. All these things, and now you have a wife because that's what you're supposed to do. And there's all these armors that protect me against all my insecurities. And the beauty of Survivor, and what I saw was when you go out there, they strip all that armor, and you become exposed for really who you are. And so I was intrigued by that, and to watch these people navigate it on this show and have no kind of they're not trying to hide it. They're just saying it is what it is. It intrigued me, and it got better and better and better. And I always said, I want to do this. And part of it was because I want to see if I can win, because I'm very competitive being from Hoboken. Listen, one thing we don't like to lose in Hoboken. But I also, in a way, wanted to make sure I was who I thought I was. You know what I'm saying? So I always felt you have to be a good person. You have to put out good vibes. You have to be good. But is that really who I am? I need to find out. And the only way I can find out is to strip myself of all these things that make me this good guy. And let's see if I can still be that good guy. And that's what really intrigued me about being on. It's a little corny, but that's really how I felt. And so when I went out there, you do get stripped. There was times out there, I don't like to get emotional.
Let's not talk about that yet. Let's go. Let's not jump the gun. We got time here, right? We got time? We got time. Let's talk about the initially, who pushed him? You pushed him? Who pushed him to go on Survivor? How did it start? What did you do? You wrote a letter? How'd you, I want to be on Survivor. Get me on there. What do I got to do? How'd you get on the show?
First of all, I've always wanted to go on the show, but life gets in the way. I was raising my kids. I had my job. I had things going on. So I'm sitting in the living room watching Winners at War, and Jeff comes on and goes, and if you want to be on Survivor, and I was like, yeah, I want to be on Survivor. Yeah, me, Jeff. I went on. And so he said, go to CBS website. So, what the hell? I'm sitting there going on. I said, babe, I'm gonna sign up for Survivor. I start filling out, and I'm like, oh, it's too long. I gotta fill all these things out. So I did it. Went through, and then it says, oh, now you have to, put a video in. And I go, video? I don't have to do a video.
Workout video? Yeah,
no. A video just why I want to be on Survivor. Why I be a great Survivor.
An audition. Okay, audition tape. Okay.
Right. And I couldn't figure it out. So I'm trying to look through my camera roll on my phone to try and see if I have a video of anything. And I uploaded one by accident, which is the one that I submitted, obviously. And I get a call. And it was probably the worst video ever submitted to Survivor. And that was it. So the truth is, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. I never thought I had a shot. And everybody says to me, like, you have any advice on how I can get on Survivor? How about this? Just be yourself. And that's what I was. I was just truly myself.
How long now? You sent the video. What? How long did it take? Did they get back to you? What happened?
5 or 6 months later, I get an email and says, "Hey, Mike, we're interested. Are you interested in us?" But the thing is, I got the email and said Survivor, and I didn't believe it. I thought it was a spam. I was like, this bullshit. This ain't real. And so I ignored it. The next day, I say to Stacy, I said, hey, babe, I get an email from Survivor. And she goes, what does it say? I go, I don't know. I didn't open it. She goes, what's wrong with you, idiot? Open it up. I go, what if it's not real? As long as I don't open it, it's like, playing the lottery. If I don't look at the numbers, I still have my winning ticket. Yeah. So I opened it up, and it was real. And they said, We liked your video. We liked your application. You know, could you give us a little more info? We need a little more than that, Mike.
Right.
And so
Really?
we made another video. I submitted it, and you know, before you know it, they're interviewing me, and I got chosen to be on. That's really as simple as that.
They pay for the ticket for you to go to the Fiji Islands, or you got to fly yourself?
CBS treats you very well. It's a
Beautiful.
class act. It's
Good.
a class act.
Good.
Very production and CBS itself they're good people.
Good. So, what is it like? What's the flight? Fiji Islands. How long was that?
Fiji, I think we were like on the air. It was 5 hours to LA, and then we take like 17 hours. I think it was to Fiji.
Wow.
Felt like forever.
Wow. So you get to the Fiji Islands, you don't know what's going on. You're like, did they give you a clue? Like, did they say, hey, Mike, this is what it's going to be? Or they tell you nothing?
You don't know nothing. You go there, you show up, and you go on the show.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So sleeping quarters, what was it like? What were you, everybody together? Like,
we're on the island? Exactly what you see on TV.
You're just on the island. That's it. There's no hut. There's no shower. You're in the ocean.
Unless you can build a hut, what they give you out there, you're not sleeping in a hut.
It.
Listen, everything you see out there, and I can't emphasize enough, is what it is.
Wow.
It's what it is.
So what were you thinking first day? Why did I come here? Am I nuts?
You know, no. It was surreal, man. I'm like, I'm a long way from the projects, man. He said, I don't know about this. This ain't the ball field. I'm just, surreal at first because, you grow up, you not grow up, but, watching this show that you love, and now you're out here and you see Jeff Probst, who, quite frankly, Jeff Probst was amazing. He's everything you think he's going to be.
Now, where's he staying this whole time?
I don't know.
Where's he at?
I don't know. I'm assuming
he's got a hotel somewhere on the island somewhere.
God bless him. He should. But the truth is, I don't know. And, I see him. But
he just pops up out of nowhere. Hey, Mike, how you doing? How you feel today? He's eating a ham and cheese sandwich.
Here's ham and lunch from Fiore's. What do you think about this, Mike? No, Jeff is everything you think he is out there, man. So he was amazing. Listen, enthusiastic about the show. I can't say enough about Jeff. He's exactly what you see on TV, and probably more in a good way. He was amazing.
Talk about some of the relationships you built on the show. Some of the guys, the people. That would have been an awesome thing today with the calls, but we're gonna get.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: is I'm going on. I was 57 years old. And I'm saying like, this is fucking great. I'm going on Survivor. I'm gonna be out there with 17 other people. I'm old enough. I don't need any friends. I got enough friends. I don't need to make any more friends in my life. So I'm gonna go out there. I don't care what they think. Screw them. The crazy thing happens though is you wind up becoming emotionally attached to these people that you are going through this crazy thing with. And you develop relationships. And now I can proudly say I'm very close with a lot of my cast. I mean, me and Jonathan, me and Lindsay, me and Jenny. Jenny, I love Jenny. She's going to be my family forever. Marianne, Marianne, obviously she won. I came in second. And she announced me and my wife at my wedding. All of them. I mean, the whole cast in unbelievably are amazing. A lot of people, complimented our season. You guys were such good people out there. You guys are legitimate. It wasn't fake. We legitimately liked each other for the most part out there. Would at times we want to kill each other. People like, Hoboken, like, Daniel better never come to Hoboken. And if you know the show, Daniel kind of screwed me over a few times. And Daniel, but the truth is, Daniel's a great guy, and me and Daniel are good friends. And you got to separate the game from the people. You got to separate the game from real life. The game is the game. I equate it to playing poker. In poker, I bluff. And if I have a pair of deuces and you have a full house and I bluff you and you go out, the truth is you're going to be pissed. You may even be pissed at me, but you're also going to say, damn, Mike, that was a good fucking move. Yeah. And that's the way I equated the game was. So when I went out there and played, I separated the personal relationships, even though I made a lot during the game, but the game moves. If you made a game move against me and I got caught, I may have not been happy, but I wasn't mad at you for doing it. I applauded you. Yeah,
the game is a game, like you said. So what was it eating like? You were telling me a little bit about. Tell the people, what was it like?
Dude, we didn't eat for the first 12 days.
No way.
We had
no way.
Me and Vadi, my Vadi crew, we had like a half a coconut in the first 12 days. We had a lot of water, so I peed all over the island. I marked every tree in the place. but we had like maybe a crab leg, not even a crab. I'm calling it a crab. It's like a wood crab. It was like it looked like a hermit crab that we caught, and we had one leg each. And I gotta be honest with you, it was like lobster to me. It was so good.
Delicious, right?
And that was it for the first 12 days. And then Jeff gave us rice on the night of the 12th day. I gotta say, man, it was the best rice I ever had.
I can imagine.
Gave us a cup of rice. It was amazing.
Could imagine. And what'd you shed? How many pounds you lose on that island?
I lost like 36 pounds
Wow.
by the time day 26 came.
Wow.
So I went in at 2:00. Oh yeah, I went in like 2:02, and I came back somewhere like one. I ate pizza at the finale, so I might again. That was back like 172. I was pretty.
Wow, I can't even picture you.
I know.
172.
I beefed up though, man.
Yeah,
Listen,
no
man.
kidding. What'd you put on now?
I don't want to talk about it, but I'm back on my diet.
I was eating pizza like crazy, right? Forget about it.
Listen, no more. I'm done. Listen, everybody says, "Oh my God, Mike, you're back in shape." Yeah, round's a shape. Yeah, I'm round right now, but I will lose it. I'm working on it.
That's awesome, though. All right, so that was it. The island's done. Everybody left. Boom, right?
Come home. Got to keep the secret. Didn't tell anybody.
That's right. And I was trying to say I was not invited to the view party. I don't even.
Were you kidding me?
I'm only kidding. Come on, guys.
No. Oh, you didn't get it?
I didn't get it. No. I missed the email.
It's in the mail.
Oh, but you know what? I should have worn my shirt. Somebody had actually bought me a Survivor 42. I have one home.
You know what? By the way, my premiere party. Listen, man. If I didn't invite you, I'm sorry. I couldn't invite everybody.
All you people out there, you're not the only ones. I got cheated too.
People were trying to break down the door. I was like, oh my God, what the hell is going on?
It was a big event. It was awesome. That's awesome, man.
So listen, the experience was amazing. Coming back, I keep the
How long did you have to be quiet for?
I kept it. I got back like June 13th, and we premiered on March 9th. I didn't tell any. Well, obviously, I couldn't tell anybody the result. Right, but they, fortunately for me, at the finale of season 41, they showed a preview of 42, and they showed me coming out. Once that happened, it exploded.
Yes,
so people then knew that I was on Survivor.
Yes.
And then they announced it a month before the show. Then I could tell people. That's when I was allowed to actually tell people. And, people say, hey, we saw you on the commercial for the coming season. I can't believe you're on Survivor. I go, I can't say I'm on. I can't say I'm not on. You saw what you saw. That should be good enough for you. Because you couldn't admit it. But once they announced it, then I was allowed to tell people and promote the show and, tell my friends the truth. But to be honest with you, the results, I didn't tell, not even my kids. I kept that a secret. And mainly because, number one, I want to be fair to the show. They gave their commitment to me. I gave my commitment to them. And also, I didn't want to ruin it for people. I think if you tell the ending how I did, it ruins it for them. So I wanted them to enjoy it.
That's true.
I want them to enjoy it.
It's like telling me ending of a good movie.
Exactly. I want them to enjoy it, which is much more satisfying to me.
And after you submitted the tape, did you have to go actually, obviously in person, to meet them, right? They wanted you to come in.
No, we did everything by Zoom. No,
that's right.
It was COVID time. It was a rough time. It was COVID. Right. My wife was an ER nurse at the time, and she was, going through COVID. It was a rough time. And then I get this, and I have to leave. I got to give kudos to my wife, Stacy. She handled business while I was gone. I was gone like 54 days, and she took care of everything while I was gone. So
I was just gone for like 6 days in Atlantic City, and I was ready to cry. Oh, my wife, somebody got to make the bed. It's hysterical.
Yeah.
But you want to bring some pictures up?
Sure. This first picture right here is.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
It's at a parade. Oh, that second picture. You want to talk about the first one first? The first one, I'm at a parade, and it's gone. So this picture was my first. We're back. We're back. So there's former Chief Richie Bloom. There's firefighter Steve Manzetti, and that's his father, who became a Battalion Chief, Steve Manzetti. And then you have right in the back one, there's Anton Peskins, who's the chief now of the department. Great guy. So this was before parade, and we took a picture. That's when I was, still a Battalion Chief on the job. I used to enjoy the parades because you kind of get to show your wares. You go out there and you walk down Washington Street, the Avenue. You walk down the Avenue, and you start waving to all your friends, and you break ranks really easy because you can't. People coming up to you and stuff. You remember those days? Those was a lot of fun.
Joe Cat. How about Joe Catalano? You remember my uncle Joe Cat?
Of course I remember Joe. Right? He was like 150 years old when I got on the job. Joe Cat. Hey, Cat.
Good old cigarette on the side.
Yeah. So that's obviously me wearing my uniform and being with the brother firefighters. Look at the crowd behind too. That's what all the guys were there. That's when, Hoboken, look at the building. Standard Brands is the old Standard Brands.
Yeah, it wasn't even converted.
It's not even the way it is now.
Wow. What year was that?
I'm going to say this is like 90.
Got to be 90.
No.
No, he's not. Stevie's not that old.
Yeah, so it has to be like.
He's still on the job.
So,
he's still on the job. Yeah.
So it has to be like 95, I guess.
Mid-90s, maybe. Yeah, he might have just got on at that time.
Yeah.
I didn't even think he was on that long.
You know what the funny story about Stevie Manzetti Jr.?
I haven't seen him in a while. Is he retired?
No, he's on.
He's still going, right?
But me and Nick Golsack were putting carpet in for Steve Manzetti Sr., and little Stevie was just born.
Oh,
and we were putting carpets, and he was running around. He was crawling around the carpet. He was like, 6 months old.
Wow, okay.
And then to see him on the fire department, and represent the department the way he does is great.
Wow.
And you have Chief Peskins there. Chief Peskins, he grew up right down the block on 12th and Wash, and he's a few years older than me. And I always tease him now. I say, Chief, remember I used to be the little kid. You and your friend, you and Griff used to pick on me and beat me up. So we laugh about that. But what's beautiful about this picture? These are all Hoboken guys. Former Chief Bloom was a Hoboken kid. Steve Manzetti's a Church Tower kid. Anton's an Uptown kid. I'm a Project kid. These are all Hoboken guys, so it's good to see this.
Without doubt.
My first foray into football. It kind of looks like that I have the ball and my sister's on the floor, but I guarantee you she's about to kick my ass because my sister Miriam was tough. So, and look at that. Like, I thought I had a big head, but look at that football. That's a big football, right? Because I have a big head.
Yeah.
Look at the sneak. Look at my sneakers.
Got some nice looking hair though back then.
I do.
That was nice.
Yeah, I'm a little pissed off about this hair thing. I swore. When I was young, I said, man, I want to grow hair on my chest. I want to look like a man. I never grew hair on my chest. I said, okay, the good news is I'm probably never going to go bald. Of course I go bald. And my brother and Nick Gosak, they still have their, and you, Stu, still have your friggin' hair. I'm not happy about this. Not happy about this at all. However, thanks to Michael Jordan, not Kojak, he made being bald in, so I was able to get away with it. Sure. But actually, obviously I don't remember this picture, but I remember,
What year you said that was?
I guess, I'm like 2 or 3 years old, so this has to be like 1965, 1966. We're definitely down the project somewhere. And me and my sister Miriam. So me and my sister Miriam, we're like, we're the Irish twins. We're about like 14 months apart. And we were best friends back then. So we used to walk to school together, walk home together. I couldn't go anyplace without her. She couldn't go anyplace without me. So, and believe it or not, she was much tougher than me. So if somebody messed with her, she used to kick their ass and protect me.
She around, Mike, still?
Yeah, she's still around.
Yeah.
She's still, yeah. So that's not number 80. Look at that. Remember those old football shirts they had on?
Of course.
That's probably a hand-me-down from somebody. The family photo when it was only 3.
Wow.
The great thing about this picture, this is Easter 1969.
Wow.
Okay, and I know this because my sister Angela is right there, and she died a few months later. She was hit by a car. So this picture, I know, was Easter. And my mother, you can't see it, my mother's pregnant with my sister Judy. Wow. So
Susan's nowhere around yet, right?
Yeah, Susan's not even thought of that yet. Neither is David. Wow. You want to hear a funny story about David real quick? So Survivor wants me to give them pictures, right? So I said to my brothers, I said, I need some old pictures for Survivor, for flashbacks and stuff. My brother starts sending me a picture of himself. I go, Dave, why would you say? He goes, oh, you said you want a picture? Not of you. And so I submit the picture. He goes, oh, yeah, I'm not in any of these pictures. I go, David, you're not even close to being born yet, brother. Come on, work with me here. Work with me.
Come on.
So but this picture actually means a lot because my mother's here. And this is, unfortunately, when my sister passed away, we took a little bit of a nosedive as a family because of a tragic event, unfortunately. So, but this picture, it's one of the few pictures we have of my sister.
How long ago has your mom passed? How many years, Mom?
My mom's dead about 5 years now.
I remember seeing your mom all
my mom was always around town,
man. Well, even your dad. Your dad's longer than that, right?
Yeah, my dad's got to be, I think 2010 he passed away.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
This
is a good picture. Yeah,
I
look good. I red jacket.
I that Cali school jacket right there.
Yeah, no, that's actually a red. No, dude, that's a red suit. Now, what made my father get me a red suit for Easter? I don't know. But we don't see is I have one of those, a fedora hat that goes with it that I don't have on in that picture. But look how nice the hair is, though, right?
That's
see the hair?
Yeah, I like it. Nice. Oh, nice sharp cut, tight on the sides.
And look how happy we all look.
Yeah,
we're happy. Take the picture.
Oh, this guy.
There you go.
I thought it was Danny Amato, 54 that one.
Daniel, listen, I made 54 way more popular before Danny. Now, Danny Amato was an amazing football player.
Beast.
But that's my senior year of high school. That picture's actually taken in Giant Stadium.
That's nice.
What
year?
1980, yeah.
And you guys won it.
Yeah, we won in 80. We lost in 79, we won in 80. So that picture's in Giant Stadium in 1980.
Mickle was there. Mickle was on that team.
Damn right Mickle was there. Anthony was there. Anthony was there with us. You know what's funny? I look at this picture; it looks so friggin' old. It looked like, look even the pads are so ancient that we wore back then.
How cheap were the helmets? What did you have?
Cheap.
Bike?
Air? I think they were,
air or water?
We never either. We had
just regular padding.
Just regular padding. Those are like made out of crepe paper. They wonder why we had concussions.
I might have water. We had water in PAL in 80.
Did you really?
Might have water,
those weren't water.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? The good kids got the water.
Yeah.
We got Turner, take this
high
helmet.
school. Come on,
Yeah.
You had something.
But listen, obviously those were great years. This is my mugshot. This is the picture that was taken when I got on the fire department. Who the frick? You know what? Why my hair is like that? It kind of looks weird. It's because we used to we had the bell caps on. And I don't care that it looks like, because you know why? I have friggin' hair. Look at the thick hair.
Yeah,
Look at it. I got hair. But I look
the
like
part in the middle and everything, you see? Right there, right down the slot.
This is a photo you
that's
expect to see in the post office. I think they do have one in the post office back in the day. But listen, obviously it was a proud moment. I remember that when I got on, I got sworn in. Like I was like, holy shit, I'm very blessed, man, throughout my life. Me and my boy Timmy Mack. Timmy Mack was one of the coolest dudes I knew back then. Always suave, always got the girls, good dude, hard worker. But we
what's that? Yeah.
Here's the funny thing is this is in Jersey City. We're going to training for a week. Back then they took you to Jersey City, they trained you for a week and stuff that you probably weren't going to use, and then threw you on the field. That's why it was my first day on a job at level. I was like, what the hell am I doing here? But Timmy Mack, and he's going to kill me for this, Timmy Mack was my camp counselor at Camp Tamaqua.
No kidding.
And we didn't keep in touch, but he knew me and I knew him from, Camp Tamaqua, because I was so much younger than him. Even though he does look young, he's a young looking dude. He still looks great. But then he got on the fire department and we became really, really, really good friends. Obviously from him being a mentor at camp and then even being on the fire department, he was older than me and he had a business and, he was a good dude. So that's a good picture of us. So we used to actually carpool to Jersey City together. Look at me trying to look cool. First rescue in the city of Hoboken, right there.
Okay.
Yeah, that looks like that was like a Thuman's truck that we had donated. We might even bought it, and we converted it to the first rescue truck. So and it's Nick Golsack on the right. Billy Montages is the first guy in from the left. Billy passed away. I know Billy a long time. That's Tom Rubistelli's brother-in-law, and we were really. I got to know Billy. We used to play tackle football when we used to play at the Little League field. And then Billy got on a job. And we got really close. And then got Alex Badamo to my right, and one of the best firefighters I ever worked with. Good dude, solid. And then you got Brian Green, another guy. I know Brian Green from Our Lady of Grace. Wow. Me and Brian Green were, grew up in Our Lady until they asked me to leave. And and then he got on a job, and we were good friends. All solid dudes, man. It's the first rescue unit. I go to war with those guys any day.
What year was that, Mike?
This has to be like 19. This might be like 1995.
Nicky's been on that long?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Wow. Nicky retiring this year. Actually, it's 1997 because Nicky came on the year my daughter was born. So it's like 97, 98. We put there. John Cassessa was the chief then, and he implemented he brought the fire department into the 21st century. He implemented a lot of things that were never done before. Before then, we used to squirt water and put ladders up. Once he came on, we did a lot more things in this town with the fire department to bring us into the 21st century. Kudos to him. But that was a great guy. That's my chops. That's my daughter, Chelsea. I was getting promoted from lieutenant to captain here. And my daughter was little. It's one of my favorite pictures of all time.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
what year was that, Mike? What was that?
98, 97. Somewhere around there. The years start to mix. I'm getting old, so it's hard to remember.
John, what's you?
I can't believe the 90s that far ago. Here's a picture from.
Right. What about? Oh yeah, I was going to say.
There's the wife.
About the kids?
Okay, so there's my daughter Chelsea. It's my stepdaughter Taylor. Obviously, the Stacy. We went up to Lake Placid a few years ago, and it was a great family bonding. It was kind of when me and Stacy were first getting together, and it was one of our first trips as a family, and we had a good time. It was a great time. Obviously, we still fight as a family, but we're all close. We go to war with each other, that's for sure. It's me and my Stacy, my woman. I was trying to act warm there, but it was freaking cold.
Oh God, it looks freezing.
It was freezing out there.
Holy
I was trying to act cool, but I don't like the cold anymore. So they still talk me into going to Lake Placid. So we're up there. We had a good time. My beloved, look at the belly. See, that's from after coming back from Survivor. I gained the belly. I got round. But obviously my Mets, man. I love my Mets. I'm a Met fan. And my father said, let me think. I'm going to raise my kid in the projects. I'm going to send him to Our Lady of Grace and make him walk home. What else can I do to really, really torture this kid? He made me a Met fan. And I've been tortured ever since. But I'm a Met fan, true and true. And unfortunately for Stacy and the rest of the kids, they don't have a choice either.
My daughter's godfather, John Lupo, is Darryl Strawberry's business manager.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I gotta get you.
Yeah.
The straw man. I'll give you
The
a call.
Strawman. He threw out the first pitch last night at the Yankee Subway
Yeah.
Series.
Yeah. Oh, did he really? I didn't know. I didn't see.
And my Mets are winning still 2-0.
Oh, come on, man.
Come on, man. Those Yankees.
Yankees. What we got?
This is me and Stacy. We actually. So here's the thing. Listen, man. Being from Hoboken, you know the deal. Did we ever think? We never thought we'd go to Jersey City High School. We get beat up, right? And never mind leaving the country.
I did get beat up.
Right. So I got beat up a lot of times in Jersey City by St. Francis Paul. So I get it. But you know, to leave the country, I never thought it was my wildest dream to go to Europe. So, you know, Stacy had said to me on the whim, says, you know, I'd really like to go to Europe. I said, you know, I've never been out of this country. Never. And we made a trip and we went to Italy. So that's the Lemonade Park or whatever they call it.
That's cool. That's nice.
And we went to this park and we spent 2 weeks in Italy and we did you know, and we kind of toured on our own. So it was kind of cool. We kind of hung out with the locals, which I like to do, to see how they live. But that was a great trip. Me and Stacy went away for 2 weeks. That's when she had to decide, you know, it's one of the trips where you say, okay, is this it or not it? Because 2 weeks together in Italy, you know, by the way, she tried to get away. I caught her. She tried to get away.
She was like, this guy Mike's cool, but
I don't know about this.
Let's see what this Italy trip turns into.
She didn't have a chance. She didn't have a chance.
There he is.
The Zach man. That's me and my son, Zach. That was on a cruise, I think a Disney cruise when he was little. Yeah, and they make you get dressed up. So we wore a tux and tie, and that's Zach when he was little. He's my partner in crime.
He ain't little no more. That's
he's
a big
boy.
Right there. Holy moly, good kid too.
You know, he grew up to be an all-state wrestler. He went to Wesleyan University, which is a very good school.
That's awesome.
So very proud of my son. I'm proud of all our kids. All our kids are doing well. This is the old days, back when my kids just didn't care. In my backyard, they're playing in the mud. They look good, right? See how we took care of our kids? We took care of them. We kept them nice and clean. If you put that picture 30 years before or 50 years before that, it'd been me in the projects looking the same way.
Good.
My cousin Crystal's wedding. We just wanted to make a cool picture, man. We took this picture, and that's my daughter, again, and my son.
It's like a Toro Gotti a little bit in that picture.
He does.
Wow.
He does. I love this picture because I'm being serious, and they're both like goofing around. I'm like, okay, serious picture, guys. And they're like, yeah, okay. They still don't listen to me.
Great shot.
Yeah. And that's it, man.
So what do we got to look for? What's coming up for Mike? I mean, that would I know you're doing a lot. Talk about some stuff. What do you got going on?
Here's the thing.
What's going on?
You know, the fortunate thing about, you know, Survivor, besides, you know, obviously the notoriety and the, you know, the quasi-celebrityism of it all, which, you know, it humbles me. You know, obviously I'm just like everybody else out there. I don't think I'm anything special by any means. And every time I think I am, Stacy and my kids make sure that I understand that I'm not. But what it does for me, it's given me opportunity to lend myself for whatever it's worth to help causes that I'm, you know, passionate about. And, you know, like the cause today about helping kids go to camp or the homeless shelter or, you know, even the ambulance corps in Hoboken, those guys, you know, thankless group of guys that have been, you know, they go out and do it for nothing. Yeah. They go and save people's lives for nothing. And those are the things that I you know, it gives me the opportunity to do. Survivor has done that for me where, you know, I can lend my voice or my appearance or wherever it is to help people out. We do another, you know, Survivor is a big part of a program, Hearts of Reality, where to help kids with cancer. And so I've done a lot of, you know, shows, you know, going to shows for that. December is a big thing going on that I'm going to go to. It gives me the opportunity to give more than I thought I could if I didn't go there. So, you know, it makes me happy. I like it.
I remember Mike described himself on Survivor. He said, like, the biggest misconception was people think he's big and, you know, they think I'm this big, tough guy, but he's really a teddy bear. And I can contest to the fact that Mike is, I mean, you wouldn't want to get in his way on the football field. You would probably get ran over. But one of the most humble people, like, you know, that I've known throughout and like I said, one of the guys that I looked up to, you know, when I was a kid, he was always a sports, you know, he always played ball and he was just, you know, just that guy, you know what I mean? A humble guy. And I really appreciate this hour. Is awesome to, you know, to highlight you, man, to spotlight you. I mean, you know, you deserve all the kudos you're getting right now. This is good karma just coming back and and surrounding you, and the lovely wife that you have here,
Yeah.
and your family. You know, it's awesome, man. It's awesome.
No,
It's
I'm
a
very
great blessing.
fortunate, and I appreciate it. You know, I've always believed the one thing that you can give away is nice. It's free. It doesn't cost a dime. And sometimes it seems to me that so many people have a hard time doing it. It's nothing just to say hello, to smile at somebody, you know, to take a picture, to talk to them. It's nothing. And now I'm given an avenue where I can make people happy, and I can help people get things that would help their lives. And you know what? It makes me happy to do that. And so I'm going to do it.
The beauty of it is you've been doing it a long time. Now you're just getting elevated to a bigger scale, and that's the real blessing. You know what I mean?
Right. Well,
so,
and by the same token, there have been a lot of people that have come into my life that have done it for me. And if they didn't do it for me, I wouldn't be in a position to do it for somebody else. So, you know, I guess I'm paying it forward for all the people that have been there for me. So, and I'm very fortunate. I'm very, very fortunate. I could have been a statistic just like you could have been. And, you know, listen, kudos to you. I know people know what you've done for a lot of the people in Hoboken, that you were their last chance, and they, you know, they're alive today because of you.
But Rand, our producer, what do we got, brother?
That's it. I'm gonna take us out.
We're hot.
Yeah.
Was that good?
That was great.
Love you, brother.
Love you, brother.
Good job, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was good.
This is Rand Hoppy. I'm the producer and the tech and everything else for the Hoboken Historical Museum, the collections manager. Bob Foster is the executive director, and he definitely is heavily involved in producing the show as well. Anyhow, so coming up, we've got Stu is going to talk to boxer Butch Sanchez. Should be fantastic. That will be live. And so we look forward to you joining the show and making some comments and asking questions of Stu and Butch. After that, we've got Bob Foster is going to talk to Andrea Kronig, a local artist who runs the Hoboken Naturally Instagram account, where she features vegan meals in Hoboken restaurants. That also should be pretty interesting. And we'd like to thank the memory of Mel Kiernan. Mel was a big fan of the Hoboken history and the Hoboken Historical Museum, and was very kind enough to leave some financial resources to us in his will. So thanks to Mel and his estate. We'd also like to thank the New Jersey Historical Commission. They have given us a number of grants in order to do our work, and particularly some money for technology that we've bought in order to make Hoboken Talks. We also like to thank the New Jersey Council for the Humanities for their ongoing support. They've been a big help to us. The Shipyard Circle is our high-level donors. We of course thank them, and they are just great that they're able to help us out at that level of support. But we love our members, all members, and we love all of our donors. And even if you're just coming by and paying admission to see our exhibits, that's a wonderful thing. So thank you to everybody for their support, and especially the Shipyard Circle. And the Applied Development Company, they donate the space to us that we have at 1300 Hudson, and they help us out with many more things than that. So we thank them. We do indeed thank Applied Development every day. Come by to the museum at 1301 Hudson. We've got a great exhibit called The Avenue, A History of Washington Street. The walls are filled with maps, artifacts from Hoboken establishments through the years. It's just really a great trip down memory lane and a great interpretation of Hoboken's main drag. Also, we have our upper gallery. We have photos from the 1970s and 1980s by Carol Halabian. These are just great. We're actually involved in an Instagram project right now, trying to identify some of these people in these photos. Really, really wonderful color images from a while ago by Carol, and they'll be up and through September 4th. We are enjoying participating on social media, so particularly YouTube for our show here. And so please just, even though the show is not it isn't interactively live, we welcome your comments. We of course want you to like all of our videos and give us the thumbs up. Share the videos with your friends and colleagues. Just, look at what Stu and Mike did today. Check this out. And of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and subscribe to us on Facebook as well. Follow us on Twitter. Just take that subscription and take a notification. You'll see when we schedule new videos for your entertainment and edification. So that's it. That's a Hoboken Historical Museum. That is Hoboken Talks, and we'll see you again.